Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Saturday. This is a new episode of the Right Info Podcast Show with your host, Kane Twan. I'll be discussing a topic that's very important, not only to myself, but should be important to everyone else. It's dealing with race irrelevance and the confusing of America. Now, for some time now, this blog that I wrote and I have done a while back advocates for the removal of the word race, used to classify and characterize humans of varying ethnicities. The claim has been made, as well as substantiated, that the word race is inaccurate, inappropriate, and ineffective in the task it has been forced to perform. Again, for the record now, race is the term that includes all human beings in the human race. The use of race in regards to color or geography is used because it simply adds to the confusion rather than in making clear the relationships of all human beings. Now, people with black skin, complexions, and those with white, brown, tan, and pink and other complexions are all part of the same race. Their ethnicity and culture, however, will vary. Now, in an effort to underscore the problems caused by our use of the term race, we can call to attention to a recent article written by Jeff Jacoby from the Boston Globe. In his article, Irrelevant Race Criteria, Jacoby makes the following statement, end quote. Spend a while with the census search engine and you could be forgiven for the thing or thinking that the nation's racial compositions have never been defined with such pinpoint accuracy. To the statement, it's added that, in fact, the nation's racial composition has probably never been defined with less accuracy, and the margining or, the correction of error is widening. Why? Because of the growing number of Americans who read the government's racial category is so meaningless. It's meaningless in a way. Some people know it, some people don't. Now, what is meant by the last statement is that because a person's multi-ethnicity ancestry, there is no category available on the identity space with the exception of quote-unquote other. They are identified as University of Maryland students, as an example, or a student who is Hispanic, but the government agency that tracks data on births and deaths will pronounce the person as Asian or Hispanic. The birth certificate from the state of Maryland omits that race altogether. It omits the word race altogether. So we can readily see the problems using the term causes. Another point made in the statement is that, quote unquote, though most Americans still may think themselves as belonging to a single race, the high racial population is surging. It's surging high. Now racial boundaries are more permeable and easy to ignore than ever before. One might be willing to agree, except for the simple reason the same mistake is made by the government. Accepting the word race is legitimate and accurate. If we as a society accept the fact that all race identifying people is different, in different ethnicities and cultures as belonging to a separate race. What that means is, well, let me give my opinion right now. Following this podcast, race is a word that's been used for many, many years. And there are those who support it because it identifies people of different colors, cultures, diversities, or orientations. But there are those who oppose it because they feel it's a racist connotation, a description of a negative set of labeling people in a mindset, or those who have the mindset of, being separate. My opinion is, race, is a word that's been used to identify people like, African American, white, Asian, Hispanic, the sort of like, and it's lumped up into a different type of people. But here in America and all over the world, race can be seen differently. Not just race is color, but the human race. The human race is seen as more everybody compared to the quote unquote race as far as dealing with color is concerned. The skin tone of a person. That's seen as, differentiating from how people look at each other. People see each other in a way that's different as far as their thoughts, their ideas, their opinions, the way they see things, they view things, however they like. Me, I see as everybody being equal. And, equal opportunity, equal standing, no matter what race, creed, color, or religion or orientation you are. We are all one. We are all of the human race, regardless of our color, our skin tone, our attitudes, or whatever. So I feel that, race is used in a defining way to give an explanation on what it means as far as color or but I look at it as color and people, as human race. We're all together, we're all equal under the eyes of God. So with that being said, that was just a main point of how I feel about how they talk about race, the point that was made, the pros and cons of it, those for the word, those against the word. I'm not saying I'm against the word and for the word, but it's just a word that describes everyone. The only word that should really matter is the human race. The race that we are the human race, the group of people, the lump of people throughout this whole world that come together. Yeah, we're going to have our agreements and disagreements, but at the end of the day, we're all of the same race. But at the end of the day, we can all agree to disagree. Yes, that is true, but we all have one common goal. We are all one race of people. We get along. We may not have the same likes or whatever, but that doesn't matter. As long as we agree to disagree and we give full respect to each other, that's what really matters. And with that being said, I was just giving my full idea and explanation on the critical matter of race. It's talked about everywhere, no matter where you go. You go to a store, go to a park, go to school, go to business, go anywhere. Take trips and talk about it, that sort of thing. And, I just had to discuss this because this podcast is very important. This was a podcast I did back in, well, I researched very much, looked into it, thought about it back in like August, and I decided to discuss it as a podcast. So hopefully everybody will listen to the point that I made in this podcast. And this is all I wanted to say today in this podcast. Hopefully everybody have a wonderful Saturday. You take care of yourselves and have a happy Saturday. And this is the end of the Right Info podcast show with your host, Kane Twan speaking. Goodbye and have a great day.